Hi, I'm Barb Angelo. You're watching Open Mind, a show about all kinds of good stuff for the mind, body, and soul. Every week I'm talking to people who are making a difference somehow. They're helping people mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually even. People that own practices or have businesses or even a lifestyle that's interesting and also helping people. Today my guest is helping people with her art and her healing with crystals. Welcome to the show, Dot Haxtis.
Hi, Barb.
Hi. So glad you can make it today.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes, and we beat the storm, I think.
Yes, I think we did.
A little steamy out, but still.
A little bit.
My glasses steamed up when I came out of my car. So
It's sauna weather.
I know.
This is why we don't live in Florida.
yes,
In the summer.
in the summer, exactly.
In the summer.
So your business is DorothyClaire, Crystals and Healing, and DorothyClaire is your name.
Correct.
Okay,
My
but I'm
first
going to
and
call
middle name.
Okay, I'm going to call you Dot today. Is that
Yes,
okay?
you are.
Good. Let's get started. So today's show is all about crystals, and I'm thrilled because I'm one of those people that collects crystals, or people give them to me as gifts, clients and friends, and I have no idea what to do with them. They're pretty. I love looking at them, and I hate to say I have a lot that are still in a bag in a drawer somewhere. So you're hopefully you can
fix
help
that.
me.
We'll fix
Yay.
that, yes.
And you can help me. And I know I have some of my friends out there that are watching today also because they're very interested in crystals and what to do with them. And they're not just pretty stones. They're really powerful. They have energy.
Energy and souls.
I was just going to say, would you say they have personalities?
Oh, absolutely. They're just like us.
Oh my gosh, this is fascinating. Okay, this is great. Let's start from the beginning. How did you get started, or when did you first start using crystals?
I think since I was able to walk, I was one of those kids that always picked up every stone and had them in my pockets and drove my mother insane by having rocks in the washer. And it was just a thing. They would almost be illuminated. There were certain ones, and I didn't understand, but I thought everybody else saw that too.
Right.
So I just figured everybody else was doing the same thing I was doing. And then you get through life, and you get married, and you have kids, and you have families, and you kind of put a lot of the things that are you on the back shelf.
Exactly.
And take care of what you need to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody goes on their way, and you're left with that time for the little voices to say, hey, we're still here.
Right.
You know, and then a life event will happen, and it starts to trigger things and remind you of the gifts that you've always had.
And so when you said you could see them illuminated, like an energy field around them.
They stood out. Like even now walking on the beach, like there are certain stones that stand out. It's almost like they're apart from the other stones.
Wow.
And it's whatever that energy that's connecting with my energy. So they go in my little yellow bag and come back with me, and I've got buckets of beach stones that I work with too, because the energy from them, they came from the mountains. The
beach
stones,
stones.
like if you go, Cape May is my hot spot, and those stones all started up in the mountains of New York and Pennsylvania and down the Delaware River and into the bay. So that's been hundreds and thousands of years of them tumbling down, and that's why they're so smooth and wonderful, and that's why I find so much quartz down there.
Right.
That's where Cape May diamonds come from. They're actually tumbled quartz.
So what do you do with those stones?
I have them around. Some of them go into jewelry.
Right.
Some of them ask to be turned into jewelry. I do little sculptures with them for fairy gardens.
Wow.
And sometimes they're just fun to hold. Their energy is just so... They've made this incredible journey down the river.
Right.
And what they've picked up in that journey is inside that stone.
And can you feel that? Can you sense that intuitively? When you said they speak to you, they ask for certain things, do you hear a little voice, or is it just an
It's a
idea
knowing.
that
It's a
pops into your head?
Yeah, I don't actually hear little squeaky voices.
Right. I was
If I
going to
start
say.
to do that, then it may be time to step back a little bit.
I was going to say, what does an amethyst sound like? What's the voice of the amethyst?
But it depends on the amethyst.
Right.
And it's just the knowing of certain stones that you need, like getting ready in the morning. Which stone, like which of my pendants do I need to wear that day, and I dress around it.
Wow. Wow. I mean, really, I think I said to you when we were talking earlier, I have a few wonderful books that my sister Sharon gave me. They're wonderful, but I really haven't delved into them. They sit on my bookshelf, And I guess because it's not that I'm overwhelmed, but there's so much to know about it, I think.
And it can be overwhelming, and the books are wonderful because of the photography and just a brief description.
Right.
But that's just if you meet someone, say you walk into a party and somebody introduces you, oh, this is Joe and he's a property manager.
Right.
That's what all you know about Joe is what Joe is dressed in
Right.
and what he looks like and what he does.
Right.
What his title is.
Right.
But then later in the party, you get to talk to Joe and you find out that he hand glides, he likes to ride bikes, he loves dogs and goes to, helps at rescues, and you find out the depth of Joe.
Right.
So it's, when you look in the book, it's more of that first impression.
Right. The label.
But then
the
when
picture.
you get to each individual crystal, that's when you find out their individuality and who they are.
Okay. Wow. This is great. I'm so excited about the show. You brought more than a couple of wonderful things. Some of them are your creations, and some, like this big guy here. Why don't you pick it up? It looks really heavy.
It
But
is.
just in case the camera can't get to it so we can see it now, what is this?
This is a smoky quartz cluster.
And it looks smoky. The color
It
of it is
is,
very
and
smoky.
it's clear quartz, and where it was formed, there are different minerals in the water and the dirt that it came from that will turn it that smoky color. This is a really good grounding stone, and not just because it's about 5 pounds.
It's grounding you right
Put this
now.
one in your pocket, you're not going anywhere.
You need a
but-
pocket big enough first of
Yeah,
all.
they probably fit in my purse, but that's a whole nother show.
Right.
My purse is another show. But just this smoky quality of it, this goes more towards your root chakra,
Okay.
and that's grounding and bringing you down and putting you into the earth. Sometimes we get really upset and we start to fly off and get a little heady. A stone like this is wonderful to have because it will pull you back down to earth.
Okay. Which is what grounding is.
And I brought this basically because it's nice and big and everybody
can see it.
how beautiful. But there's, to be able to wear jewelry, bracelets or a pendant, or just put a small one in your pocket,
Right.
it's very, very grounding,
Grounding.
especially if you're going into maybe a stressful situation.
Okay.
It kind of keeps you in yourself.
I love
And I'm
that.
going to put this down because it is really
Please put it down. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. I recognize this. I'm going to pick this up. I do have one of these, and again, I think it might have been a gift. It's a rose quartz.
Rose quartz.
You can tell by the color, the rose quartz.
Yes.
So tell us a
And
little
this is
bit.
another member of the quartz family.
quartz
It's just
family.
where it formed, the minerals turned it pink. This is related to your heart chakra.
Mhm.
Heart chakra can either be green or pink. Green is more of the healing and outgoing love. Pink is more love for yourself.
Love for yourself.
Because if you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to do the other thing. So this is one that I love to put in pendants because it'll sit right here and it's right near your heart, and it helps for healing. We all have that closet in our heart where there's just all the stuff thrown away and all
That we
the
hold on to.
stuff that we don't need,
Mhm.
and this will help you clear it out. And give you, a feeling of, yeah, I do love myself.
Right.
And it just makes your life go so much easier.
I think I might have heard this, and I'm just getting this thought right now. Is the rose quartz and the green, like you were talking about with the heart chakra, is that good for addictions? Do you think, in a way
Yes,
where you're
it's healing.
healing,
It's
self-love?
self-healing because people who have an addiction issue, a lot of that I think stems from the fact that they don't love themselves.
They don't value themselves.
And they do what they do to almost damage themselves. And this is something that, in fact, someone had ordered a pendant from me for someone who was having problems. And just having that and wearing that
Right.
just
Close
centered
to the
them,
heart,
and
too.
to get them to think about themselves and realize that they're worth it.
Yes, and they deserve.
And they deserve
Right.
to be loved.
Right.
But that starts with yourself.
Exactly. Like you were saying, it's like the people that equate it to the oxygen mask in an airplane. You have to put yours on first before you can
see
help
others.
your child or somebody else.
Absolutely.
So right. So loving yourself first, and then it's you're
So
able
for,
to love
you know,
others as well.
People with relationship issues, they're, a lot of times you get out of a relationship and you feel damaged
Mm-hmm.
if it didn't end well. And this can help with that damage and let you realize that it's not you. it's not all you.
Right, right.
And to give you that strength back.
So the rose quartz is helpful with relationships, heart, loving yourself, even addiction, something like that, to bring comfort.
And it's just very comforting to sit with it. It just emanates love. I have this on my altar at home with Kuan Yin, who is just so full of love. And that just, you can almost see the ripples.
Oh, wonderful. And it's interesting too, because I know that people have told me, when I say, I just like it because it's pretty, then there's a reason why I like it, because it's pretty. I'm drawn to it for a reason.
Absolutely.
We're going to come right back. We have a couple of commercials. We'll see you in about 3 minutes. Hi, we're back. I'm Barb Angelo, and you're watching Open Mind, a show about all kinds of good stuff for the mind, body, and soul. And today my guest, Dot Paxtis, and I are talking about her incredible, well, her business and her gift, which is crystal healing. She creates crystals, makes jewelry out of them, and we've been talking about, we have these wonderful crystals that you brought in, we've been talking about their properties. And I love that you said earlier that each crystal has its own little soul, which I think is awesome. Their personality.
Yes.
I mean, we're all made of energy, so everything vibrates.
Absolutely.
Some things vibrate, well, actually everything vibrates at a different level. And you were talking about being drawn to crystals and rocks since you were a little girl, because you could actually see that energy kind of.
And it was very surprising that other people didn't.
Right.
I didn't understand
Doesn't
why my
everybody
mom
see
just
this?
looked at them like, oh, there's rocks in the washer again, to.
But that's my special rock.
And I, as a kid, had boxes of rocks.
Let me ask you a question. Did you name your rocks? Or were there too many?
In the beginning.
Right.
And then they had little families, and it just.
Baby rocks. And sounds
But
like something I would do.
But
That's what I was
there was something with their energy that they were drawn together.
Right.
So there was different shoe boxes of rocks.
Just like people. Just like people who we're sometimes are repelled a little bit only because we don't vibrate. Maybe
Our energy's
same.
just.
Energies
It's
just
like the
don't
magnets
match.
when you do them opposite and they push
Exactly.
push away.
Exactly.
Which we need to learn that that's a really good sign to pay attention to.
Exactly. And to trust in that and not feel like,
Absolutely.
oh, I should like this person, and it's not even maybe about, it's not about being judgmental or liking, it's just we're probably not going to see eye to eye and not benefit each other in any way.
No, and it's not going to be for either one's better good.
Exactly. Exactly. So we've been looking at these beautiful crystals, rocks. Is crystal and a rock is the same thing, or is a
No,
crystal a more evolved rock?
A crystal is, well, you don't want to say, you don't want the other rocks to hear that. We tend to look at crystals as the shiny ones, and they have more color to them, and you can at some point see through them. Like there's a little bit of being able, like a window. Rocks are what we put in our driveway and in our gardens, and the big boulders that you see, the landscaping boulders, or like up in Central Park there are boulders left from the Ice Age, and you can actually see the scrape marks in them from when the glaciers receded.
Wow.
So they're also keepers of history.
You know your rocks, lady. You know, you really do. I love this. So
So-
you were talking about Cape May and just the history of
And
stones
just where
and
the
rocks.
stones come from, and everybody goes down to Cape May and they want Cape May diamonds.
Right, right.
And they're great when they're wet because they're real shiny,
Mm-hmm.
but then when they dry out they kind of look a little dull. Partially from the salt water and partially they're not totally tumbled yet. But if you wet them, then they get shiny again. So it's kind of, people get disappointed, and it's
Right.
like, just put them in a bottle with a little tiny drop of oil, and
Right. Well, it's kind of like putting your makeup on.
but it's, yeah.
First
There you
thing in the
go,
morning,
little-
you don't look the same.
But,
when
but
you shiny
they look
up a
better
little bit.
shiny than we do.
True. I'm trying to not be shiny.
Yes.
So first of all, I wore this today. So this is something that I made.
noticed.
When I was in Sedona, it was right after the huge. What's it called? The rock. You know what I'm trying to think of, the big convention. The stone.
The stone show.
Yeah,
the,
stone show.
Crystal show.
Crystal Rock and
It's
Stone
huge.
Show. It's huge, enormous.
On my bucket list.
I haven't been there, but I was at a shop because we're driving, and I see beads, and I said, pull over. So we pulled over, and there's this beautiful store, and it just had nothing but beads and rocks and crystals and bins. And they had just gone to the show. So
The
they
mothership.
Yes, they were just ripe and filled with all these wonderful things. My husband actually said, I'm going to wait in the car. And I said, that's okay, you go. I'm just going to,
I'll
be
be a
in heaven.
moment. I'll just be a minute.
I'll be 2 or 3 hours. And I bought some of these. And I just created a necklace out of it myself, just fooling around. And it did have holes in it already. Somebody drilled a hole.
Oh, okay.
So I could just work with it with the wire.
All right.
So this is a citrine
Yes.
Yes, and it's like a yellowish color, if you can see. What else can you tell me about citrine? And I know from what I've read, like in my little book that gave some just basic description of what's citrine.
Okay,
One of them is
so you
it's
know about
called
the
money
money
stone.
The money stone.
The
you
money
know,
stone.
And you're supposed to keep it in your cash register or keep a piece in your wallet.
Right.
And I do actually have a small little tumbled one in my little change purse. And there may only be 37 cents in there, but at least there's always something in there.
It's better than 35 cents, right?
Exactly, or nothing. But also citrine is yellow, and that coordinates with your solar plexus.
Right.
And that's your chakra of power.
Power, yes, I do know that.
And that's standing in your power, having the power to go out there and do the things that are delivered up here. So, and besides, yellow is like one of my favorite colors in the world. It's sunshine and it's bright and it's happy.
That's what I like. It's happy.
It
It's
is,
a sunny
and that
summer.
particular stone is incredibly happy.
Oh, tell me about my stones. All
It
right?
is-
Could you tell me?
Because you told me earlier that you had wrapped that yourself, and I don't want to burst your bubble, but you truly didn't do that. The crystal told you how it wanted to be wrapped.
Oh, I think that's great. You're not bursting I'm excited now knowing that, because literally I was fooling around. I teach myself all kinds of things, like maybe you taught yourself how to create your jewelry. And I looked at a picture and thought, let me try wire wrapping.
Okay.
And it's not perfect, and at first
not
I
supposed
thought,
to be.
exactly, but I thought it's me, and it has my mark on
So
it.
you got it.
was
You
the-
did
Yes.
get that.
I was listening to the crystal.
Because if when I first started to do this, and it just came to me that I needed to start wire wrapping the crystals. And I'm like, but I don't know how to do that. So I went on YouTube like everybody else does, and went, oh, there's no way I'm going to do that. So, but I tried.
Right.
Give the girl credit. She
Right.
tried, and it was a disaster. Everything was, and the crystals wouldn't stay wrapped. And
Because they didn't want to, I guess.
No.
They didn't like it.
So I sat upstairs pouting and stamping my feet, and I said, okay, what do you want? And then it just kind of came over me just to do whatever.
Right. Do
And-
not try to maybe do it the way somebody else is
And
doing
I
it.
cut a piece of wire, and I started doing, I don't even know what I was doing. And I ended up with this amazingly wrapped crystal, and got up like a 5-year-old and ran downstairs to my husband and go, look what I did! I did this, and he just was like, wow, and it was amazing.
It worked.
So each piece will tell you how it wants to be wrapped,
Okay.
but that is to do with their energy.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few, and we'll be back talking about crystals. Hi, we're back. I'm Barb Angelo, and you're watching Open Mind, the show about all kinds of good stuff for the mind, body, and soul. And today I'm talking to Dot Paxtis, and we're having this incredible conversation about crystals. Yes, crystals. Dot is a crystal expert. She creates art and jewelry out of crystals, and she also uses crystals for healing. She brought a wonderful collection of crystals here, and we've been looking at different ones, and she's talking about what they're good for, what their properties are, and how they can help you. So this is the next one that I picked up. Tell me about this one. It looks like a little wand or something. It's very interesting.
This is selenite,
Selenite.
which is a workhorse. And the way it grows, it kind of ends up being in wand shapes or little logs. This is a really good clearing crystal. Like, you wear your citrine,
Right.
and it takes in your energy,
Right.
but it also takes the energy in from every place you've been. Sometimes you need to clear that energy out, because the crystals can get how we get sometimes when you feel like you're overburdened with just a lot of stuff.
So let me ask you a question. If I wore this necklace, we were discussing the citrine necklace that I made, I brought because I wanted you to tell me more about it. Say I wore this one day and I had like a bad day, or something happened, there was an argument or whatever, just not one of my best days. Would it hold that memory and energy of that? Because of the energy I'm giving off?
It has an aura like we do.
Okay.
And how energy and stuff just sticks to your aura. So you could just take it and run it under some cold water for 5 minutes. If you have just a regular crystal, you could put it in some salt. It's like Himalayan salt,
Right.
or the chunky white salt. But if it's wire wrapped, don't do that, because
Okay.
your wire will.
Could I put it in like a little glass of Chardonnay and make it feel better?
You could
At
try that.
happy
It'll
hour?
make you feel better.
At happy hour?
Why,
Here
they
you go,
do
Crystal.
elixirs, but I don't know if they've done it
You've
with
had a
wine.
bad
You
day.
may be onto something new there. hold that thought.
Well, you know, so here's a fun fact. You just reminded me that I do know about amethyst. So I read that an amethyst is this beautiful purple stone that in ancient, I guess, Rome, Greece, they used to drink wine out of amethyst-lined goblets so they wouldn't get drunk.
Yes.
So they would be able to continue conversations or whatever they were doing.
That's what they
without
thought
getting
was
drunk.
going to work.
Okay, did it?
Does
that make sense?
It was in Greece a stone of sobriety.
Okay.
I think they just kind of made that up to make themselves feel better.
Okay.
But it can, if a lot of things when you're working with the energy of crystals and you're attracted to a crystal, your intention of how you want to work with that crystal is also very, very important. So back to how we talked about the rose quartz and addiction, for sobriety, if you have an amethyst and that is like an anchor for you and you let that crystal know what you need.
Your intention is, okay.
From it.
And so on that note too, I'm a hypnotherapist. I do passive life regression therapy mostly. And with hypnotherapy, I tell my clients a lot of it is their belief. If you believe, say if you believe that crystal for addictions and you have a strong belief in it, then it can really,
the crystal can't do it all itself. You actually have to put some skin in the game and work with it. They are here to raise our energy. So you can't just get that and just have
do what
it sit
I do,
there,
put it in the drawer and go, oh, that's nice.
and just expect it to stop your issue.
Or to work magic for you.
Yeah, it's not. You have to work with them. And they are very open to that. I mean, that's why they're here. That's why they were sent. The glaciers are receding. There's new crystals being found up in the Himalayas that are really, really spiritual and higher energy to lift our vibration for those of us that are trying to ascend and just
do good work.
To help others.
Do good work, right.
But there are a lot of crystals that are coming to light now because it's time. It's time for them to come in and jump in. They're like taking us from 3G to 4G. They help raise, but just to have it sit on your coffee table and not work with it is, I mean, it can help your...
No, I feel bad. But I'm glad, there's a reason why I had you on the show, because I like to be inspired to, just work with it.
A lot of times those crystals came to you for a reason. They may be with you for a bit. At some point you may feel that they need to go to someone else. A lot of times we're the bridge, or they're done with us and it's time for them to move on. I do shows, I do expos, and people come by and they're like, oh, I don't know why I like that stone, and they'll come back, and it's like, I don't like that, that's not my color, but
it's speaking to me.
That stone has reached out to their energy, and it's something that they need to either align themselves or to build themselves up. And most times people will come back, I don't know why, but I have to have that stone. And I just smile because they're all there. Well, before we go to an expo, we have a little meeting before we get packed up. And it's like, okay guys, we're heading out. If you find your person, go for it.
So she's talking about the crystals now, not other people.
No, we're not
having a conversation with the crystals. So this one we were talking about, this is a clearing crystal.
So you could take...
I think you call it a workhorse.
It is, because you don't clear it.
Okay, it does the work for you.
It does the work for you. So if you're wearing this beautiful rose quartz and you can just at night just lay it on there.
Wow.
And it will clear it. It'll clear out all the negative and heavy energy it won't clear out what it is, because it, keeps its own energy in its soul.
Exactly.
But it's like it taking a shower.
Okay. Sometimes you loofah. Sometimes you really need to scrub a little.
Exactly. These come in, they make them in towers and different things that you can just hang your jewelry on at night. I have a big one, a natural one in my bedroom that I have a lot of my jewelry hanging on.
So let me ask you a question for the people out there, our audience, who some people might be watching and thinking, wow, this is a lot of information, or I've never heard of this, or maybe they think it sounds even a little kooky. But if you study and you understand, again, energy properties, force fields, anything, it's very scientific. For somebody now thinking, oh, I'd love to bring crystals into my life, what would you say are like good ones to start with? So crystals that people
crystals.
Crystals, a starter kit.
Doesn't have to be fancy and a cluster like this, but clear quartz.
Clear quartz
is a really, really good place
different
to
than
start.
This, because they're both a little frosty and white.
Yeah. Now this is a totally different
Okay.
makeup.
So clear quartz.
Clear
And we only
quartz-
have a little bit of time
okay.
left, so let's,
Clear quartz is like the best one, I think. That,
Okay.
or if you can get smoky quartz to help with the grounding.
right,
You clear this under running water or in the salt or
okay.
on a piece of selenite, and then you just sit quietly with it and you just
Listen,
feel it.
Feel what it's,
You usually go with the hand that is not your dominant hand,
okay.
but if that's not working, try your dominant
Right.
hand,
So
because
when you
we're
say
all
feel
different.
it, whatever kind of comes into your mind, or maybe you'll get a little image of something or a sensation of
It's
something.
a feeling, but then you talk to it and welcome it and introduce yourself
Right.
and tell it what you would like it to help you with.
Okay. Wonderful. So, unfortunately, time went by so fast.
Oh my
I
goodness.
would love for you to come back, Dot. I really
Absolutely.
would, because I think we probably could talk.
We could do a mini
We
series.
could do another series about crystals, and I think even just more educating on people with crystals, not just the
Okay.
ideas of them, but showing people how they can really bring them
It's a
into their
deal.
life. How can people contact you? How can they find you?
I have my website, DorothyClaire.com. I'm on Facebook. And if you go to either one of those, my phone number's there, so you can either text or leave a message, because I work during the day, so I don't get back to people till at night.
Okay. And I'm Barb Angelo. You've been watching Open Mind, and you can find me at barbangelo.com. Thank you so much for being with us. Watch us next week, 12 noon, RVN TV. Thanks.